ladies and gentlemen, welcome to season 2 of the NBA SA. We made it to season 2. Quick catch up, Kirk. How have you been, bruh? How's your off season been?
Yo, it's weird actually. My off season has been quiet. I stepped away from basketball, but then stepped into some other craziness. I've been playing a lot of golf. Golf has been good.
Okay.
Like any sportsman, you gravitate to golf at some stage in your career.
Yeah. At some point, you want to be as competitive as possible while still being old.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the off season has been interesting. It was quiet for a while, then it started picking up. There's some nice stories developing within the NBA. Lots of little plots we want to see unfold, which is fucking exciting for the season. I mean, as excited as we were for the start of last season, I think I'm equally excited for the start of this season because of all those little subplots that have developed.
Away. Nah, quite. To me, quick update. What's new, bro? How you been?
Off season wise. Off season wise.
Yeah.
I mean, the off season has been good. We're expecting another member of the family.
Who? Russell Westbrook. You're gonna name him Russell? That can work.
It's a whole different swing to a golf swing. Different
Facts. Yeah, you would be up for the early tee.
Steph Curry inspired.
Facts. All of the NBA.
Once I found out that it's Sam Cassell.
Yeah.
Got fined by the NBA.
All right, boys, listen. Let's get straight into it. So for tonight's episode, before the season starts, I'd like us to focus on a conference. Listen, tonight, because Kirk is a Golden State fan, or was, maybe, we don't know if he's a fan yet anymore. We know where Tim's loyalty lies with Dallas in the West. So I thought that's a lot of the West, and the two of them will have a lot to say about the West. So this evening, let's talk about what I believe is a conference where maybe 8 or 9, maybe even 10 teams can make the playoffs on day 1 of the NBA season starting. All right? Tim, you'll go first this evening. Give me your thoughts on the Eastern Conference. Oh, you want to say something? Good.
Yes.
Did you say the East or the West?
East.
The East.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
10 teams can.
Yeah.
10 teams
8 teams must make the playoffs, right? I guess they can.
Because they will.
The term I was looking for is in contention.
DBAP.
Moving along. Okay, let's start.
With a bang.
Let's start with last year's Eastern Conference champions, the Boston Celtics. Timmy, you go first. Give me. Where's your thoughts at Boston made the finals last year? Obviously, we know what happened with their coach, but for the viewers that don't know and they're gonna watch this, because Keki, we're fake famous, baby. We got 200 followers on TikTok and like 12 subscribers on YouTube. I don't know if your wives subscribed. I don't know. Anyway. So let's kick it off with last year's Eastern Conference champion. Starting off the season in the way they are. Timmy, what are your thoughts, bro?
I think they're going to be good, right? In fact, I think they're a little talent upgrade. I do like Malcolm Brogdon. But I guess I am slightly uninspired to talk about them. I think they're going to be good, but I don't think they're going to win. I think they're going to go far in the playoffs, but I think they're going to get a sucker punch at some stage. They're going to get knocked out. I think that they've got a real issue with their big man. I'm not a believer that Williams is going to be able to play an entire season. And I think that as much as everybody talks about the superstars, right? If he goes down, I think they're clear. I don't think that they've got a legitimate chance. I think the coach was a large part of their personality, even though he was only there for 1 year, right? And now he's gone, and he was the one thing that seemed to prop up sort of a big backbone. So like if you're a Celtics fan, I think it's going to be cool. I think you can win a lot of games. I think you're going to have some big moments. I think you're going to get yourself into playoffs. You almost certainly get past round one, but I wouldn't take any of my own money out and bet on them.
Kirk?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Tim has to say. And Williams is definitely going to not play the whole season because he's already out 6 to 8 weeks because he just came off surgery. So, so yeah, you're right. He's not going to play the whole season.
I mean, he was a contender to maybe not play the season.
Okay. Kirk, you were saying?
So clearly Wayne is a good day to record for me. Yeah, I agree 100% with Timmy. I think they'll make the second round. One of my four that I think could potentially make the Eastern Conference Finals, potentially. So they'll definitely make the second round well, not definitely, but they are my pick to make the second round of the playoffs. Yeah. Like you said, they'll win a lot of games. So look, the Boston was shit for a good part of last year. Everybody beat them until it was around January where the penny dropped and they figured it all out and they went on a run and they were fantastic. And that was almost entirely due to the coach and him instilling the belief and instilling things that made them
your whole soliloquy. Oh, there we go. He's back. The recording is back.
And I think
and what the fuck happened there?
Yeah.
And pause.
Sorry, Owens.
So okay. As I was saying, yeah, I think they're gonna make the second round of the first one.
Away.
My internet was basically it stopped recording. It kicked off when Kirk said, "I agree with them." It was like, "That's all we need to hear."
Yeah.
And back. Cool.
Yeah.
That's the only clip we need.
Yeah. I literally repeated everything that Timmy said.
Yeah. Speaking of the word you used in the previous clip was synergy. What was your word that you chemistry? And one team that I can think of in the East that I think have a great chemistry with a history is the Bucks, right? If I think Bucks, I think if you say Eastern Conference, I would say the Bucks would at least be in the finals of the Eastern Conference. That would be my pick. I see chemistry. I see a hungry bra. I see a lot of good things within the club. And I guess anybody could make the finals, right, guys? But my pick is on
one team can make the finals.
Yeah. The Eastern Conference Finals.
I stopped listening when you said, when I say, because only my head was, when I say two, you say back. That's all I heard.
Is that why you had to smile?
Yes, also you were talking about the Bucks with all of this chemistry and history
Yes.
and actually after the Draymond punch, right? Lots of commentators started talking about other punches, and how it sort of racked up and what have you, right? When you talk Bucks, I think Bobby Portis, right? And I'd forgotten that he knocked Mirotic out for like half a season because he punched him. So it's strange that he's on one of the teams with best chemistry, right? Or at least marketable best chemistry.
Okay.
Oh.
Thanks for getting back to the West. But Timmy, give me your thoughts on the Bucks. What's your thoughts on the Bucks, and how do you think they're going to do the season?
Everything that I just said about Boston, it's exactly the opposite. Right? I think they are tough. I think that they were super unlucky to not have their second best player. I think if they had Middleton in that series against the Celts, I think they would have won last year. Well, they at least would have beaten the Celts to go through to the finals. I think it's a year. I think the year after you win is always a little bit tough. And I do think that like everybody's a human, that there is a little bit of motivation issues there. And then you taste losing again and you remember how to win and you get your full team back. You add a couple of pieces, right? The exact opposite to Boston. I would take my money out and bet on them, right? I wouldn't want the Mavs to play them in the only place I could play them with in the finals. They are a formidable team. They're a likable team. I'll get up to watch them. Right, they got a fantastic superstar. I think things are good for them.
Katie?
Yo, I'm just looking at their team now. They've got 19 of 25 players that are currently day-to-day.
Yo!
That's a preseason eye blind.
Yeah, exactly. They put their whole squad on the injury list.
You can't scout us in the preseason.
But yeah, I picked them coming out of the East 100%. I think they'll make the finals this year. For all the reasons that you said, they'll play with a chip on their shoulder. It's weird because they sort of the forgotten team because they didn't do well last year. Nobody's talking about them really. They were like, oh yeah, the Milwaukee can be good if they're healthy, and that's sort of the narrative. It's like they can be good if they're healthy, but they can be fucking pretty good if they're healthy.
Nobody wants to play them if they're healthy.
So if you fast forward to the end of this episode, they might pick to make the finals from the East.
Okay, day one prediction already. All right.
Yeah.
Moving along, the big trade. Ben Simmons goes to Brooklyn. Media talking about if it works, it could be great. What's your thoughts on the Nets, Kirk? We all kind of share the fact that KD is pretty much the best player in the world. Can it work for the Nets this season, Kirk?
They are in the exact same position that they were in last year this time. So I'll say the exact same thing that I said about them last year. Depends on the chemistry. If they can learn to play with each other, because again, they're putting new pieces in. It's a whole new season. They've got this fuck ton of baggage that they're bringing along with them. They had a very exciting off-season with KD demanding a trade and then backtracking, and now they're trying to put all those pieces together. You've got Kyrie with a perennial fucking reality show on his own. So.
Yeah, but I agree.
They just throw in another piece of work, which is Simmons, who comes with his own ton of baggage. So, it's gonna be good TV. It might not be great basketball, but it's gonna be fucking good TV.
For me, your thoughts?
Actually, just to wrap up, I don't think I picked them to make the second round of the playoffs. They might be my fourth team. I don't think so, but I don't think so yet. Let me think about that a bit more.
You have time. You have a little bit of time. Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me your thoughts.
I agree very much with Katie. Look, chemistry is important because players have got to care and give a shit, right? And generally they've got to give a shit about either the collective, right, or maybe rally behind somebody, right? But who as talented as they are, who are they rallying behind? Who are they going to dive on the floor for? Katie said he didn't want to be there. But before he said he didn't want to be there, he said, I'll stay, but only if you trade, if you send the GM and the coach away. And then the owner said, no. So then he said, okay, cool, I'll stay. Right? But then they've still got to come back and play together and then listen to one another. Right? He gave Kyrie the cold shoulder. Like Kyrie saying, well, I have to play well because if I don't play well, I'm in a contract here. Right? Ben Simmons hasn't played for a couple of years. You got young bucks who are coming through. The owner even said you'd far prefer to support a team that he could get behind. He owns the fucking team. I think it's going to be a shit show. I do think that they're still going to win a bunch of games. I think Kyrie is going to be their best player throughout the course of the year. I think this is probably the year that you're going to see Durant tailing off a little bit. Eventually, Father Time and age catches up, and suddenly he's got a super massively strong body. I think that if they fall outside the top 4, which I think that they will, and maybe we can wrap that up in a second, that means that they're going to get a team that has done better in the season and is going to throw a couple of haymakers. And it's when you throw a couple of haymakers where you really test the chemistry. Right, one player is not going to get you through that. Yeah, and then I'll agree with Kirk. If they finish outside the top 4, and that means that they don't have home court advantage, I think they're going to get knocked out in the first round. That's if they make the playoffs, right? In 3 weeks' time, they could have lost 5 games. Durant would be gone, right? and they could have the fire sale, right? For Indiana. Yeah. So, anything could happen with that team. It's going to be fabulous to watch.
Yeah. Good TV, as Kirk said.
Right.
All right. So listen, those are 3 big teams in the East. Kirk, who else do you have in the East?
There's the elephant in the room, which is Philly.
Philly, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I put Philly ahead of Nets to make the top in the top 4 without a doubt. I mean, they have the scoring title holder in their ranks, and arguably was in the it was very definitely in the conversation for MVP.
Best player in the East. He's the best player in the East.
Yeah. They've got a locked in Harden. He seems to be he's saying all the right thing, which is a big step. They've got a fantastic team. Maxey is looking fantastic. Yeah, I mean he's just taken over that point guard role seamlessly. He's fitting in so well. They are contended to make the Eastern Conference Finals for me. Yeah.
Okay. Timmy, give me your thoughts on Philly, man.
Love them. Look, I've been a little bit of a Harden apologist over the years, right? I probably enjoy him a little bit more than most. Love Embiid. I love the fact that Harden doesn't have to be Houston Harden, right? I love the fact that Maxey's gonna take those spots. I love the fact that Morey went to go and get the rest of Houston that worked, right? Like PJ Tucker, right? And surrounded them with 3 guys. Yeah. Like there's a chemistry thing, there's a toughness to that team, right? I think that they're going to throw many haymakers, and I love Embiid. Like there've been a couple of games, and maybe it's just I'm biased because of the games I watched. It's been relatively big games, right? And he has been a monster on all sides of the court, right? You'll see him post up, then you'll see him knocking down shots, right? Then you'll see him passing the ball from the high post, not like Jokic, but it works. And then defensively, right? He changes. Guys get into the key and they treat him like Gobert. Yeah, it's he might not block a lot of shots, but he changes shitloads of shots. He influences the game everywhere. And I can see a world in which all that stuff clicks, right? Maybe, and this is a sad thing to say, maybe the only thing that stands in their way is Doc.
100%, my friend.
Maybe.
Same. Reputation matters, no?
Or track record. Track record matters.
You're only as good as your last 7 conference finals.
He's proven he can take lots of teams deep into the playoffs. He's also proven that he can lose from very good positions in the playoffs. He can find a way.
Yeah.
Actually, just by the way, I do think that's a little bit of a double-edged sword, right? So he's a player, he's a coach that seems to back his players, and he gets them to play really hard for him, right? The problem with that is because you back your players, you're going to be more patient through their difficult times. And when you get to a very good, smart team on the other side, when they make an adjustment, you can't just go, well, my player will eventually pull through, because something has changed that has put them at a disadvantage, and you need to make changes fast. And I think that's his biggest issue.
Yeah. He runs out of time. He never loses games. He just runs out of time.
Yeah.
Oh, Owen's got some mic drop moments here tonight. Oh, damn. Fire. Quite. Moving along. You guys know I'm a big fan of Trae Young. I think he's going to have a big offensive season. I don't know how far they're going to go, but I like them. I really enjoy watching them. And they make me love basketball when I watch Trae perform. I feel like I'm watching a performance too. Aware. Kirk, give me your thoughts on Atlanta, man. They made a big trade with Murray coming over. What do you see happening there?
They one of my teams to watch this year. There are 2 teams in the East that
every team we mentioned, Kirk's like, this is one of my picks. Because I'm gonna name 10 teams, and you're all gonna say
because you know what? They can all be contenders
to make the playoffs.
Because it's a play-in before the playoffs. Technically, 10 teams will make it, right? 10 teams must.
10 teams could make it.
But what we will agree on is which 10 teams. So Atlanta. Atlanta.
I can safely say that a team out of the East will be one of the 10 teams in the Eastern Conference playoff.
Mic drop, full stop.
And Atlanta could be one of them.
You heard it here first.
Exclusive.
Hot take.
What I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted was my 4 teams that are going to make the Eastern Conference semifinals. There are my 4 teams, and then there are 2 teams outside of that 4, which really excite me and I really want to watch this year. Right? Okay. Atlanta is one of them. We'll get to the other one in a minute.
Is that outside or inside the 4?
Outside the 4.
Outside the 4. Okay, cool.
5, 6.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So they might not necessarily be 5 and 6 in my playoff rankings, but there are 2 teams that
you're excited about.
That I'm excited about. Yeah. Atlanta's one of them. with DeJounte coming across. I saw an interesting podcast talking about players that leave San Antonio because San Antonio plays such a structured, stifling offense. They restrict creative players, right? Because Pop runs a very tight ship, and these offenses are very disciplined and very controlled. When players leave San Antonio, they are overly expressive. Like you've never heard of DeJounte getting into bust-ups in San Antonio. He's been in one or two scuffles. He's been blabbering off at players and stuff. And it's really just leaving San Antonio and having those shackles off and having the freedom to express himself that's coming out. And I think that is going to be an exciting component of these in this ACL setup. I think it's going to, and we all know he's a bucket. Throw him into that mix, it's going to be, they're going to be quiet.
Yeah. To me,
I think I was burned last year. So they made the conference finals the year before, and we did this show, and I was like,
yeah.
And you know what happened? Yeah. They were warned after that. They were terrible. And I firmly believe I love Trae Young. I really do. I find him exciting, right? But what is clearly obvious is that the rest of the teams don't rally behind him. They don't. So John Collins has been on the chopping block forever, right? And you got Capella, you got Hunter, who's always injured, great player. I don't know if he's going to be a second best player or even maybe third best player. And then you have DeJounte who plays good defense, but he also needs the ball in his hand a lot. And so they sort of overlap, and neither one is massive, right? And I think they're going to do some exciting stuff. But at the same time, I don't know if it's because I've been burnt by my last year's prediction, right? Or if I guess I'm going to see some of it to believe it. Half the guys on the chopping block, other half don't really buy in, love some of the talent, super talented. If they get it together, and then I agree with Kirk, right? But if they don't, they're going to be fucking terrible again. And so if you told me at the end of the season that they were fourth, right, in the rankings, I'd probably believe it. And if you told me they were 10th, probably believe that too. I could see both things happening equally. And so I took my money out, and I'm going to put it back in my pocket. I'm going to go, I'll see. I'll see. I wish them all the best. But I'll see from a distance.
Okay, you want to say something, Kirk?
Do you think that was the peak, that conference run, that playoff run where
they slapped the Knicks?
Where Trae Young's coming out here, basically. Do you think that was the peak? Could potentially be, if they bomb this season, then that could very well be so.
Yeah, I think this season. I think you're right. I think this season will be the predicament. If Ukongu somehow and Hunter fill some of the little gaps in between, right? Play a little bit bigger, guard really well, hide Trae's inability to play defense. If John Collins maybe does get paid, right, or does really well, right, then I can see. Then I think they're more talented now than they were then.
Yeah,
right. So it could work, but all the other pieces in between, if the glue settles in between them, it could be great. But I don't know if there's any evidence for us to believe that the glue will settle in between them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
interesting. Interesting. The
So
next team
I might have
think
to find another. Yeah, carry on.
Oh, my bad. So the next team, yes, Timmy.
I was gonna suggest a team. You look like you didn't want to check one out.
No. I have a plan.
Okay. Sorry, I must have missed that memo.
As I started the show with the 10 teams that I think
You lost all credibility when you're second or third team with the Nets.
Yeah, and you forgot about Philly.
And if you say the Bulls right now, I'm going to remove you from the Zoom call. So take a moment.
Think about your next sentence very carefully.
I can give you three choices if you like.
a team that I think will make the playoffs is the Cavs.
Yes, sir. That's why I trusted where you were going with this.
Okay. Donovan Mitchell joining a team that showed massive potential last year. Kirk, give me your thoughts, brother. You must be excited.
I like this team.
One of your picks?
This is one of my picks.
The emoji. Don't say Kirk. You don't.
Okay, so this is my last pick. After this, I can't say this is my pick anymore because I said I got 2 picks.
Was this one of your 4 inside or outside?
This is one of my two outside.
This one of your 2 outside.
Yeah.
So maybe before we go, so your 4 are Bucks, Philly, Boston,
South and Nets. Yeah.
Oh, and Nets, and Cleveland on the out, and Atlanta's interesting.
ATL, I don't think ATL are going to be like as high as 6. I doubt it. Could they? Because they're still Miami. I mean, Miami is going to be
Miami and the Raptors.
Around.
Miami and the Raptors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Shame. Should we say Chicago? Wes, you wanna check a? No. Okay.
We'll get there. Let's it's.
Let's develop.
Yeah. No, I like that we're thinking the same thing about the same teams, which is fantastic, right? The Cavs, Cook.
The Cavs are going to be great to watch. I mean, we all love Donovan Mitchell. We all love his duel with Murray in the West. Hopefully, we'll get more of the same of that Spider-Man at the Cavs. I think him and Garland in the backcourt are going to be awesome. Are they too similar? I mean, there've been so many that have been similar that have done well. But I just think that combination of his tenacity and his ability to score with that already exciting team with Mobley, Garland, Jared Allen. Yes, that team is hot. Yeah.
Timmy?
They're gonna make the playoffs. They easily one of the 10 teams that might make the playoffs. Yeah.
I think my big call, my overreaction is I think they're going to be in the top 4. I think that it's more likely that they're going to be in the top 4 than the Nets, which means I'm going in some way, form, or order: Bucks, Philly, Boston, and Cleveland. That team is hungry and they're young and they're going to give a shit in regular season games, and the games that get close, they have somebody they can lean on, who can take the ball and go and get them a bucket. And Spider's tough. And I think because he's going to be with a team which all care about defense together, I think he's going to play defense properly. Part of the reason they lost against the Mavs was because they didn't all play defense, and him in particular was cuck. And Gobert would make a lot of that sort of things better. Whereas now, okay, arguably you have Mobley and Allen in the back. I get a sense that a change of scenery is going to help him, and it's going to help the team. And I think it's a match made in heaven. The chemistry looked fabulous. Yeah. They might not get past the second round, but I think they're going to win a shit ton of games in the regular season. I put money on them before I put money on the Nets. I think that potentially Miami might make me eat my words because they just always win.
Sounds like a bet brewing. Sounds like a bet brewing.
But it's a long bet. It's a long. Yeah. I can barely remember the bets we made like 2 weeks ago. Now you want me to think about the whole season. So yes,
my bets must be week to week. That's our bets.
When you guys bet LeBron playing more than 55 games, I'm like, that's a cool bet. But yes, that's a long time to wait for a beer.
Yeah. But it will be spoken about. It will be spoken about. So we'll remember it.
Okay.
Away.
Who's going to get to 10 wins first?
That's a nice bet. I like that. That's like a 2-month bet.
Yeah. Still too long.
They play 10 games in a week.
True. But moving along, Miami. Are they going to make you eat your words, Tim?
Look, they're going to be good, right? Lowry didn't play that much last year, whether it was personal reasons or the fact that he was partially injured or the fact that he's like one of the 5 oldest players in the league. I think that's a thing, right? Bam looks like he may have hit a ceiling in his development, right? And he now refuses to shoot and score consistently. Great defensive player, but he might end up being closer to Draymond than Alonzo Mourning, for example, right? Jimmy's amazing. I think Tyler Hero is going to come in. They're going to find some people like Strus, right, and Robinson to hit down, to knock down shots. Like, I think that they are always going to be a very good team. I think Spo's fantastic. I think there is something about that Heat culture. But I think their floor is high. They're not going to be bad. But the ceiling, I think, is low. I think they're going to be... Yeah? That's it. Which is exactly the opposite. Think about it. It's exactly the opposite of what I said about Atlanta, for example. I think Atlanta could be cut. But I think they could also be really good. Right? Miami will never be cut.
Right?
But I don't think it'll be great.
I think
my bad, Tommy. That just sounded super funny. Their roof is low and their floor is high because they don't got no stairs. Like, my brain was going to the wrong places.
They're walking out like this.
Yeah, that's how it feels to be a Miami fan, man. I call it sad enough to be bad, but I call it excited enough to be good.
Yeah.
I think they're stuck in the middle.
Jokic's ops is more extreme than the range of flow and season.
That's exactly it.
All right. So, Kirk, listen, before we go, give me your thoughts on Miami, bruh.
So last year I was high on Miami. And they look good, but they felt bad, but they were actually better than they felt. If that's because their floor was low, and the ceiling was also low, so they were like basement.
Their floor was high.
But they were just in the basement.
The floor.
so Miami's a strange team because they were the top seed in the East for a lot of the season, and nobody took notice of them. And then they made the conference the conference finals. I mean, they were literally one Jimmy Butler 3-pointer away from the finals. He took that last minute three, rimmed out, and they didn't progress. If they had dropped, they'd have been in the finals, and Boston would have been just another team that looked quiet. But I still wouldn't bet on them to make the conference finals again, even though they made the conference finals last year. I think Jimmy Butler needs to do too much for them to be successful, and I don't think that he can sustain that. I mean, he plays less games a year than AD, and we talk about AD all the time about how unreliable he is, but Butler plays less games than him a season. So while when he's playing, he's great, he doesn't play often enough to be great, type of thing. I think they need another piece for them to be super successful. So yeah, for them to make the conference finals this year is going to be a stretch, I believe.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. So Jimmy Butler, it's crazy how sport is, right? Jimmy Butler makes that shot and it changes the entire narrative of Boston, right?
Yeah.
Kawhi at the Raptors makes that one shot, changes the entire destiny of what sounds like now Philly. You know, it's like a completely different team.
Same. And Philly got knocked out by both those guys.
Yeah.
Damn, man. Damn. But I mean, linking it to the Raptors now that was my other team that I'm excited about. I think they are the type of team that don't get enough news, but could do really well in my terms. Timmy, give me your thoughts on the Raptors this year, bro.
I first want to give you a thought on I don't think you get enough credit for your segues.
Yep.
We see you, man.
We actually don't see you. That's how smooth it is.
I knew you were about to talk about the Raptors because you told me. And I still didn't see that shit coming. I was like, oh yeah, that's what we're doing. Yes.
It's my job to make you guys look quiet. That's my job. That's my job. But thank you. All right. The Raptors, bro. Give me your thoughts, man.
I dig the Raptors. I think that they're one of the interesting teams. Look, they very likely may be a play-in team, but I think that they're going to be of the teams that people just don't like to play. They are super well coached. They've got a bunch of everybody in that team is 6'9" except for Fred VanVleet, right? I think Scotty Barnes is going to emerge as potentially their best player this year. That might be a year too early, right? But I think he's going to start taking that mantle away from Siakam. And actually, because of that, I think that Siakam is going to play better than he has in the last year or so, right? Because when Kawhi was around, the focus of the defense was there, and Siakam tore people up. And Kawhi left, right? And it may have been just a little bit too much or too soon for Siakam to become the focal point. And some people, their playing styles just isn't meant to be the focal point. Yeah? But all of a sudden, Barnes was fantastic, right? The more he becomes the focal point, I think the more we'll see all-star Siakam, right? And then the rest of the guys all buying in. They run all sorts of crazy shit on defense. They run weird schemes, weird zones. Nick Nurse and Nick Nurse has got them all on this thing, and they all seem to buy in. I think that they're great from a philosophical perspective basketball team. They don't have one dominant. They got a wonderful style, right? Again, I probably wouldn't put them in the top 4, right? But they're one of those teams that I find super interesting, right? And I'd probably bet on them before I'd bet on the Hawks. for example, because I think that they are tricky, they are hard, they are different. Is that they're a little bit more unique. And in the regular season, I think it's harder to play against teams that are unique. When you get the playoffs, I think people prepare for it and can pick it apart, right? But a unique team is going to be very difficult for other teams to prep for in the season. Much like I think Minnesota is a very unique team in the West, right? Because they went against the trend, and I think that's probably going to help them win a lot of regular season games. What that means in the playoffs, who knows? But just regular season, that's what we're talking about. I think unique teams have an advantage, and I think Toronto is a unique team, and I think they're cool. I think I'm not tuning to watch a lot of their games where I can.
KD, Toronto.
This is one of the teams that I picked, eh? This is one of the teams that I picked to be one cut.
Thank you, sir.
So I do believe that Pascal is the modern day Scottie Pippen. He's a fantastic number 2, cut number 1. I don't know if he was injured a lot of last season or if it was just he's not cut out to be that guy. And I do think that Scottie Barnes is going to be the focal point this year. They'll build around him. And because of that, they probably will make the playoffs. They'll be in that potential 10 teams that make the playoffs. Maybe number 11, if number 11 can make the playoffs. I'm sure Wesley has some formula that number 11 does make the playoffs.
Depends where LeBron ends. They might change that rule.
But wherever they land, I don't think they get past the first round. I think it's going to be a year for them to establish Scottie Barnes as the alpha dog. I think he's more than capable of being that. And they've got a fantastic team to support that. But it's going to take a season or two for him to grow into that role and for him to be successful with him in that role.
I think it's impossible. There's zero chance that they're not, because the top 10 are playing, right? 8 playoffs, right? Top 10 make the play-in. There's zero chance that they can land outside the top 10. No chance. Because for that to happen, it means that one of these teams must be better than them. The Wizards, the Magic, the Charlotte, the Hornets, the Pacers, the Pistons, the Knicks. All of those teams must be better than him. Well, a number of those teams have to be better than him. Let's say two. Two of those teams have to be better than him. There's just no chance that 2 of those teams are going to be better. All of those teams are just preparing themselves for the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the Wizards and Knicks think that they're not. Yeah. But there's no chance that those 2 teams are going to be better than Toronto.
What do you mean? The Knicks spent a lot of money on Brunson. They're making the finals, pal.
I mean, I appreciate Brunson as much as the Knicks can.
Moving along.
But I wasn't crying when they didn't pay him.
He was your best player in the playoffs last year next to when Luka wasn't playing. By far, he was your best player.
No, that's true.
And you loved him.
I loved him at that price. That I'm glad he didn't overplay that guy.
That's for another show. You two can talk about that over WhatsApp.
Next episode is Brunson appreciation episode.
My last team that I believe is my top 8 for the NBA playoffs in the East. But also, I really grand watching them. They excite me. I love DeRozan. I think he's exciting. Zach LaVine makes me feel like he could have a good season.
A natural woman.
Alex Caruso is hot fire and is a joy to watch. And I think the Bulls could surprise you. Vucevic. Timmy, give me your thoughts on the Bulls. That is my team. I don't know why I like them so much, but that's my team.
You know what? That's the one thing we agree on. I also don't know why you like them so much. Their best defensive player is injured, and they basically lied about the injury, and we have no understanding as to when Ball comes back. Yeah, I think that's a fucking problem.
Right? That's sport, man. That's
Vucevic has been a failure, right?
Wow!
Wow!
And defensively.
That's a bit rough. Is there something you want to share?
But I thought it'd be a great fit, right? But it didn't happen, right? I love DeRozan, but I think that he's this year's Julius Randle.
Ooh.
Okay? There's more chance of that happening than him. So remember that year that Julius was all NBA, and then last year happened, right? And the reality is, right, that it was a complete statistical outlier. Yeah, last year for DeRozan was a statistical outlier, right? What makes you think? I don't know how many seasons he played? 8. He's had one like this. Yeah? Why would we think that all of a sudden you'll have another like this? Like there's nothing statistically saying that would be the place, and we've got examples where someone will have a good year and then fall down and crash again.
I think he'll have a good year because he's got a better team around him. I think he's got a bunch of players next to him that are hungry to win.
How are they better?
I think. No. I'm answering your question on Kawhi. Not Kawhi.
On DeRozan.
On DeRozan having a big season. I think he could have another big season. I really do. I think that experience matters. I think that you can get better with time.
I think you'd have to be exactly as good as he was last year, which was madness, for them to be even decent. I think that the East are better this year than they were last year, right? So I think that the headwinds against them are bigger. I think internally they haven't improved. I think one of their key players is injured, right? And I don't think that you should be betting on something which appears to be an outlier. I think they're going to be an okay team. They'll be fine. They'll make maybe the 10, right? They're definitely not going to be top 4. And if they hit the Raptors at any stage, the Raptors are going to bitch slap them all over the place. All over the place.
Small aims. Okay. So you giving my team no chance. Kirk, do you give them a small chance, bro?
No chance at what?
Well, you basically said you think they could make the 10, but if they do make the 10 and they reach,
they're not getting out the first round. They're first round team at best. And even then, DeRozan must be last year's DeRozan.
Are they making the playoffs?
So making it through the playing game?
No. Top 8. That's my top 8. I just gave you my top 8.
No, but you got to make it through the playing game to actually play in the playoffs. If you 7 and 8, you must beat 9 and 10. Yeah.
Fair. Okay. So yeah, they are in for you.
I think they'll make the top 10. I'm not convinced they'll get to the playing game. And even if they do, they definitely won't make it to the first round.
Okay. Fair. Kirk?
I think they're like top 6 potentially.
Top 6. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna count 6 teams. You can tell me which one you think that they are better than, right, in the regular season next year.
Wait, let me finish first for a while you think about that. Because the young buck, Patrick Williams, he's doing fantastically well at the 4. And between him and airplane mode, they're adding that extra bit of aggression on the perimeter and in the inside. I do think that DeRozan will be as good as he was. He's one of the guys that I speak about leaving San Antonio and finding this new expressiveness after playing in that confined offense. I think that's the reason why he did so well. It's because coming out of San Antonio's restrictions and just having the shackles taken off, he could just go to work. I think he'll repeat that. They finished 6th last year. I reckon they'll finish around the same. I don't think they'll finish higher than 6. They could finish lower. They'll potentially finish lower than 6, but they'll finish around 6, 7, I believe. They were great last year. They're gonna be just as good this year. I mean, they were a new team. They were a new unit put together last year, and they exceeded expectations. They're gonna play. The challenge this year is going to play with those expectations, because with success comes the expectation that you're going to repeat that success and build on that. So can they play not being the underdog, not flying under the radar? Can they play with the expectation of being good? That's what will determine if they finish 6 or if they're going to drop down to 7 or 8.
Facts. Thank you, Kirk. You sounded like you were in my head. That's what I.
Okay. I'll take that in the nicest possible way.
No, don't go there. Don't go there. It's a family show.
So Timmy had a question for you, Wesley.
Hey?
Timmy had a question for you.
Go, Timmy.
I suppose I would just. I'm wondering how they hit the top 6. Is all because
they started really well.
No. Understand what happened last year.
Yeah.
I get that. I was there. And I agree with Kirk around why. Right? I get that. And then it was built to shit as soon as they had a couple of injuries.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And they starting off the year with the same injuries. Just by that, yeah. They got one player that's grown up a bit chin. Okay. And again, you need your best player to have another career year. Like all of those things sounds like a bad thing to bet on. Yeah. I mean,
it also feels like it also in the same light for me is everything you say makes sense. Just like everything Kirk said makes sense. And you go, I tell myself, I lean towards it could work, nah? It could really work. It could really work. Like,
I convince myself all the time that it's going to work. It doesn't mean it will work. Right? That's the wonderful thing about being a fan and why fans shouldn't bet on their own teams.
No, never. Don't put money on your own team. Yeah. It's just heartbreak.
I just want to tell you, right? The last time the Mavs won it all, no? Was when we had a lighty. We had a lighty that year, and the Mavs won it. Guess what's happening next year? Yeah, another lighty. I'm just saying. You can't argue stats. It's 100% track record right there.
Let's hope the Mavs don't three-peat.
No, there's no history of that. I wouldn't do that.
Because then you're gonna be like.
All right, moving along.
But if it happens, fine, and I might have to have a conversation.
So that was my 8 teams that I picked for my playoffs. Outside of those 8 teams, I personally do not care. Outside of them, I don't care right now. But Timmy, the floor is yours. Who do you have your eye on?
I think you should care about one team. Outside of that,
you're gonna tell me all.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. The Magic. I'm not convinced they're gonna win a lot, right? But I would watch that team. They've got talent across the board. They've got depth across the board. They've got lots of young cats. I think that some of them have lost enough to be tough. Some of them haven't lost enough to not expect themselves to win. I think Paulo is going to be a nice focal point. There's a lot I like about them. If I was a Magic fan, I would be super excited. Maybe not next for this year, but for the year afterwards and the year after that. I think that they are last year's Cleveland in my mind. Maybe a year too early for that. But I think they're going to be super exciting. And that if you're gonna geek out, go and geek out and watch some of their games.
Kirk, outside of my 8, who do you have your eye on, bro?
I think the Pistons.
Yeah, dude, Cade is amazing.
I think Cade is gonna.
I'm not convinced. Why do you think they could do well?
Because they're gonna beat the
Bulls.
Bulls.
Because of that, I think.
Yes, Kirk.
I think they're going to be better than Orlando. That's why I picked them. No reason. I like them. I think Cade at the end of last season, Cade started showing some stuff. I think with that year behind him, and a pre-season and a training camp, I think he's gonna be good this year. Yeah, and I think him alone is gonna light it up. I mean, they don't have big names in their squad, but yeah, I think they'll.
Do you think they'll do better than Bulls?
Definitely not. No chance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they might not even make the play in.
Probably
I think they'll finish. Yeah, they'll probably finish just outside 11-12. They finished second last year, but I think with Cade Cunningham, they're good for extra few wins. But I mean, they'll be able to knock one or two of the big teams. They'll come in there and make them win.
Yeah.
I think the Wizards, Magic, Detroit are going to be you're going to have the ones that are tanking, and you're going to have the playoff guys, and then the Wizards, Magic, Pistons are probably going to be in the same melee in between those.
Yeah. Trying to the first half of the season they'll give it a push. If they see they're not going to make the play-in, then they'll probably decide to tank and go for the Wanyama sweepstakes. Yeah.
Who else is Boston? I agree with Cade. And then I got like Sadiq Bey. Who else is in there?
Yeah, but Marvin Bagley went down
That's
last night, I think, or the night before. Yeah, I mean, he was on the peripheries there, so yeah, he went down. They got Alec Burks. He's a decent role player. Clean Hayes is not bad. Yeah, that's about it. But they're sort of a team that are like more than the sum of the parts type of thing. They do well.
Yeah,
especially at the end of last season, they started.
Well. Yeah. Look, and Sadiq Bey had like a 50-point game, right? So I mean, like that's not something to sniff at. And the dude that wanted to punch LeBron, Isaiah Stewart,
Livers.
Isaiah Stewart, hey?
Livers. Isaiah Livers. Was it him? Or Isaiah Stewart?
Stewart.
Isaiah Stewart, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know that I think it was either back in high school. I think it was back in high school. He was like the number 2 ranked player in the nation before we went to college. Like this it just hasn't come through in the NBA yet, but that's not
right. Yeah.
something to sniff at. Yeah.
But I mean, it's like his 3rd year now, or something. His 2nd or 3rd year. He's yeah.
But people do talk about that though. They talk about the transition from high school to college to the NBA, and how you could have Owens that have mega high school careers that become nothing. You have Owens that have mega high school and mega college careers and make it to the NBA and do nothing. It happens.
But so I mean, but so remember, like, it's the top college kids that make it in the NBA. So you come from winning all your life to being a bozo on the bench in a cuck team.
Yeah. Also so playing style, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you might need the ball and you could be a 20-point scorer. But in the NBA, that'll maybe only get you 8. And so if your only skill set is to score, sorry. Right? Then they'll take a 3 Digra, who wasn't the dominant force, but he could play D and he could hit threes.
Yeah.
You know, that's more useful.
Yeah.
And if you can't adapt, that's you. You play in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So now, other team that you guys would even want to give an honorable mention in the East, outside of Detroit.
So there's one.
Yeah.
There's one team that we haven't even mentioned that you were basically fawning over outside of Chicago last year, who was your ultimate team to watch, the Hornets.
Yeah,
you absolutely love the Hornets.
And the Hornets have the best commentator. They got the best commentator.
Ain't nobody gonna listen to them anymore. Yeah.
If there's no ball, there's no team.
There's no ball.
Team. There's no viewers. There's no money. There's nothing. There's just Michael Jordan.
Bridges broke the rules.
Yeah.
DBAP, and that team's clear.
Yeah. But ball is only out 1 to 2 weeks, they said. Expected out 1 to 2 weeks. It's a minor injury. I mean, he's not done.
No, but I have no hope for them. I just love watching them because they're an exciting team.
But on that, isn't that what we're talking about right now? The teams that have no hope that are exciting to watch.
Yeah, but I was only going to watch them. They play like a liquor game.
I think it's more likely that they eventually go into full tank mode. They'll track off PJ Washington. They'll track off who's the big salary guy?
Hayward.
White Mormon?
Hayward.
Thank you. They're gonna post them somewhere to a contender, and they're gonna go full tank mode. I think that'll happen. That'll happen before the deadline.
You think they're gonna try to build around ball, but just tank for the season and
and anybody's not on the timeline who they can get some picks for or what have you, gone.
I tell you, it's Terry Rose here, bro. That bro, wherever that bro goes, you're gonna have a cut team. He's like Austin Rivers.
Which potential Blazers contenders could use a Terry Rozier, or might be fooled into thinking it's going to add value to them?
That's a great question.
New York.
I actually think that there's a place where the potential shit show, right? One could potentially make sense. You could see them talking themselves into it, and it all going fucking pear-shaped.
I mean, Brooklyn.
No, I mean, I did think of that first, right? I did. But then I was like, even them, they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. Hey? Phoenix.
Oh, not. I thought you meant in the East. Okay.
Yeah, I was initially thinking this, but actually, the team that needs a dominant point guard, right, who needs to take minutes away from Chris Paul, because they need to package him a little bit, right, is Phoenix. And the German guy Schroeder, right, they was thinking that maybe they'll pick him up, right, and they could decrease Paul's minutes, right, be a really good team, and then save Paul properly for the playoffs, right, and then they didn't. But actually Terry Rozier is very similar to Dennis Schroeder.
Oh, I thought you were going to say CP3.
No.
The sacrilege.
No. But they needed dominant PG. Like that's their style. Right? They have a dominant PG with it, and somebody who's willing to take a big shot. And like, unfortunately,
he's willing.
Yeah,
he's more than willing.
yeah. But my point is, you can see them talking themselves into it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But gentlemen, thank you so much for tonight. This was an exciting conversation. And on the next episode, we'll speak about the West.
Next time, you must give me a heads up so that I can dress appropriately, man. I must wear the stuff again next week.
I'm gonna bring all my cards again.
Oh shit! Look at that.
All right. Yeah. This was good. So, final predictions. I know we're probably gonna forget this, but you have one pick and one pick only. Who is winning the East? One pick and one pick only.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. Milwaukee.
Bucks.
You know what? I knew you guys were gonna go there. I probably believe it, but fuck it. You're gonna zig. I'm gonna zag. I'm gonna go Sixers.
Go Boston. Sixers.
Okay.
Worst dog.
And I believe
Sixers are gonna win the year they put.
I felt a lot better before you said that. I got Sixers. What dog?
And I believe that the Milwaukee Bucks will beat Chicago Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals.
To play the Lakers in the finals, right?
This year, in a decade's time, at some stage in the century, what are we talking about? Put the boundaries in place.
And LeBron and the Lakers are going to beat Giannis in the finals. Sweep them.
Because they're going to play only on every second day. So then day-to-day Davis won't be there. The other Davis will be there.
All right, peace out, fellas. This was quiet. I look forward to your thoughts on the West. See you. Cheers, boys.
Bye.